Our special segment this evening, following up on one we had in September of 1977. The charge was that to do business on the New York waterfront, you had to pay off Anthony Scotto, the boss of the International Longshoremen's Association. He was convicted and sentenced today to 5 years in prison. Here's Brian Ross.
This is Teddy Gleason, the president of the International Longshoremen's Association, at a news conference earlier this month when he announced his longshoremen would boycott Russian ships. Also at the news conference, Anthony Scotto, a vice president of the union and a man believed to be the real power in the ILA. State and federal investigators say that Scotto is the mafia's man in the union, listed by the Justice Department as a capo, a captain in the Gambino organized crime family. Today in federal court in New York, Anthony Scotto was sentenced to 5 years in prison, following his conviction last year on 33 counts of racketeering and tax evasion. Outside the courtroom, Scotto maintained his innocence.
And I will use everything within my means to prove my innocence, and hopefully that today will go down just as another bad dream.
U.S. Attorney Robert Fisk says Scotto's conviction should do a lot to stop shakedowns and payoffs on the waterfront.
It would be difficult to pick anyone in the Port of New York whose conviction could have a greater deterrent effect on this kind of activity than Anthony Scotto.
Until his conviction, Scotto was one of the most politically powerful labor leaders in the country. Here he was in 1976, campaigning in Brooklyn with Jimmy Carter. At the same time, FBI agents were tailing him. During Scotto's trial, the governor of New York, Hugh Carey, was one of Scotto's character witnesses. Scotto had helped to raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for Governor Carey's campaigns. And Scotto was one of the men who co-signed a bank loan for Carey's last campaign for $300,000. Governor Carey declined to be interviewed by NBC News about this. Carey has denied knowing anything about Scotto's alleged criminal activities. The FBI began its investigation of waterfront corruption 5 years ago. So far, the investigation has led to the indictments of more than 100 people, including shipping executives, organized crime figures, and union officers. FBI agents working undercover, first in Miami and then in other ports, found that the Gulf and Atlantic Coast waterfront is controlled by 3 mafia families. The man who gave the FBI much of the information on waterfront corruption is this man, Joseph Teitelbaum, a Miami shipper, who agreed to work undercover for the FBI and is now under federal protection.
There's no way that I'm going to work from 6 in the morning to 12 at night and then give a bunch of gangsters the cream off the top. I'd rather go broke or get killed fighting.
Despite the investigation and the convictions, there's little sign anything has changed at the Longshoremen's Union.
I don't want him to, no, he's not going to step down.
ILA President Gleason says he supports Scotto and doesn't want to talk about whether his union and the waterfront are controlled by the mafia. Brian Ross, NBC News, New York.